All right. So
Where are we? Undisclosed location.
undisclosed location. You'll never find it on Google.
You'll never find it. I shut down the business profile. There's no Wolverine anymore.
Well, they didn't get to see that because we didn't have video on the last two podcast episodes.
There's no Wolverine, and the coyote didn't make it to the filming, unfortunately.
No, it didn't.
I got 2 free taxidermy animals, and the wife won on that one.
Yeah.
I still have them. They're just not in our home.
Nope. In storage.
So in storage.
In storage.
In museum, actually.
Museum, eh?
They're not stored. They're on display, but in a dedicated area.
Ah, cool. Interesting.
Yes.
I like
You know
that.
the funniest thing? I didn't even tell you.
What?
The coyote?
Yeah.
Came with a spare ear.
Oh, just in case one falls off?
It is falling off.
Oh, that's okay.
But it came with a spare one.
That's how taxidermy goes, Noah.
I don't think it is.
It is.
I don't think it is.
No.
It grosses me out quite a bit. I'm going to be honest. These taxidermy things, it's being close to them.
That's fine.
It's a challenge, actually, and that's why I took it on.
If they were rotting, it would smell. It would smell. It doesn't smell.
I don't know.
They've been in storage for years, man.
This
it
is the
would
problem.
Smell.
This
It
is the
would
problem.
smell.
I don't know enough about taxidermy.
They would have rotted by now.
But I go, animal that has been stuffed and preserved and is now falling apart. I go, what is rotting, Alex? And they go, ding, ding, ding. That's your Daily
too
Jeopardy.
soon.
It's not a joke about his death. I can't even reference Jeopardy anymore. This is brutal.
I miss that guy. Rest in peace,
Alex
Alex
Trebek
Trebek.
was the bomb.
Yeah. I wish
this
he
is
went
not-
to our high school.
Oh, I know. Did you imagine if a real, actual cool person went to our high school?
Oh, my goodness. All we can talk about is Malcolm Gladwell.
I don't even want to say his name. Oh, David and Goliath, Blink, a nerd.
Dude, such a nerd.
One successful nerd went to our high school, and they're like, oh.
He's pretty successful.
What's he even
though.
done?
I don't know, actually.
Grow his hair out?
He does have really long hair.
He does have long hair. I'm
Yeah.
impressed at how high it goes.
He kind of looks like the guy that played the tax man on that one episode of Corner Gas.
You're losing me.
Oh, no.
But this
Oh.
is not the Malcolm Gladwell Corner Gas podcast. Luckily for me.
Oh, he likes Corner Gas. Most Canadians do. True Canadians.
I've never actually said to be a true Canadian ever. Never advertised that. So
Most people that
true
reside
Canadians
in Canada,
may
99.99% of people that reside in Canada like Corner Gas. This guy,
What can I say? I am the 1%.
confirmed statistic,
I am the 1%.
point 0.001%.
0.001%. That's even better. That's cooler. That's cooler. Anyhow, the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Where do we
Oh,
begin?
My goodness. Well, in our usual spot. Fan
Geography.
emails.
Oh,
well, I
fan
guess we can
emails.
talk about the geography. It's in Austria.
It's in Central Europe. You know what?
It's so hard.
It's in Austria.
It's in Austria.
Yes, it's in Central Europe. Let me tell you what. This is a point that I want to bring up. When they were like showing the with the flyover shot of the track,
Yeah.
it just kind of hit me. I feel like Ontario and Hungary are extremely similar.
Oh, maybe we need to make an outing, vlog outing to
I would love to.
Hungary.
That's
and
my
go to
that's my
Budapest.
homeland.
Yeah,
Yes, 1/3 of it, or one
Is it-
quarter, one
is it
quarter of
actually
it.
your
Yes, it
partly-
actually is.
Hungarian.
Yes,
Where does that come from?
my grandpa,
Really, your dad?
Yep.
So is that your mom's side or your dad's side?
my dad's side. My
Your
dad's
dad's
dad was Hungarian, came over here in the 50s.
Really? So he wasn't
And
Mennonite.
that's where the family history ends.
he wasn't.
The other
Mennonite.
3/4 are Mennonite. Where those come from, they're Swiss and something. Anyways, it's
Yeah.
hard to track.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but Hungary and Ontario have actually, they looked very similar. There's just rolling hills and farmers' fields, but not too big of rolling hills. They're humble rolling hills.
Yeah.
But we should start where we actually start, which is fan mail.
Yeah, the fan emails. It's really just one fan email with an addendum afterwards.
Yes.
That we got this week. Do you want to read it?
I love reading these.
Take it away.
I love reading them.
Take it away.
This one is titled Hungarian Goulash.
Ooh, gonna have to deal with that in editing.
In all capitals. Have fun with that. Have fun with that, David. I had to read it. Look it.
It is in all capitals.
It's in all capitals.
Very aggressive email.
I like writing in all capitals too. Good thing the whole email is not in all capitals. It says, this is from the super fan, of course. Hello, Grain guys. I'm a bit surprised that F1 would not have a say in how this race ended. I really think Piastri, spoiler alert, should have just stayed on the back of Norris's tail. I would be embarrassed to celebrate that win. How can that be called racing?
Wow. I'd say let's deal with that. But there's a second part to the email, but we'll deal with one thing at a time.
Let's deal with it.
I have one immediate question here. And that's, what did you want F1 to do about it? Like, I don't want the FIA to step in there.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to step in there.
Yeah, there was back in the 2000s. I think it was late 2000s. Team orders were banned, but they still happened.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't outright say it.
Yeah.
There's a famous one where they ordered Felipe Massa to let Fernando past him, and they just said, Felipe, Fernando is faster than you, over and over again.
Yeah.
Until he got it, let him past, and Fernando got the win.
Yep.
So they have banned them before, but obviously not with great success because they still happened and they unbanned them.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what F1 would do there either. I think F1 is the ownership only cares to get involved when it's a detriment to the spectacle, which it isn't yet.
If anything, that kind of added to it. It added a lot of tension to the race.
Certainly.
So I don't think they'd be too interested in shutting down something like that because that was drama.
Mm-hmm.
Like, realistically, that's awesome for Drive to Survive. Drive to Survive has been a huge boon to the popularity of F1 lately.
Oh, yeah.
The Netflix show, for those that don't know. Like, this does nothing but benefit F1.
Certainly.
And they aren't going to be too interested in stepping in here at all. Like, if you want F1 to do something, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah.
So
why don't we get into that? Why don't we get into this?
Yeah, we'll talk about the incident.
Let's get into it.
Sure.
So what happened, David?
So you kind of have to go through the whole race for it to make total sense, just because the context of it is kind of important.
Yeah.
But Lando Norris started the race on pole. He started the race in first, and at the race start, his teammate, who started in second, got past him. Oscar,
in true Lando Norris fashion, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's pretty typical for him. Oscar stayed in first literally the entire race. He drove consistently. He drove well. Didn't make any mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And Lando stayed in second for the majority of the race, kind of just a little bit behind Oscar by a few seconds. Then for the final pit stop, the team, McLaren as a team, made the decision to pit Lando Norris first before Oscar for fresher tires, and then kept Oscar out for a couple laps on very old, very used tires.
Again.
And they said that they wanted to do this to make sure Hamilton did not get past them.
Did not get past Piastri.
Hamilton
Hamilton was in third.
He wasn't even in third at that point.
Wasn't he?
I don't think so.
Oh, no, he might have been in fourth.
That's still when he was fighting Verstappen, I think. It was a ridiculous thing to say. Hamilton was way behind and not a realistic threat to McLaren. But they chose to pit Norris first to apparently cover off Hamilton. That was what they said. And because Norris had fresher tires and they chose not to pit Piastri for a couple laps afterwards, I think they let him drive around for an additional lap and then pitted him.
Yeah.
It meant that
Norris undercut Piastri.
Yeah, he undercut Piastri.
McLaren undercut their own driver.
Yeah, and Norris got ahead of Piastri and kind of just took off. He was faster than Piastri at the end of the race. He was driving well. And
Piastri just followed exactly what the team said the whole time.
yep, Piastri just followed what the team said. And then the team came back on the radio. They were very adamant. They were like, Lando, once Piastri catches up to the back of you, let him pass so that we reestablish who was in first. They were trying to be nice to Piastri, despite this being completely the team's mistake.
Because they messed up.
Yeah, they messed up. It wasn't Norris's fault.
Yeah.
It wasn't Piastri's fault. The team chose to pit one driver before the other, which cost one driver the lead. And the team told Norris, once Piastri gets to the back of you, let him pass. Norris at first was like, okay, then let him catch up. And Norris just put the hammer down and started. He flew. He was leaving Piastri in the dust.
Yeah.
And so McLaren as a team kept coming back on the radio, and they were like, Norris, let Piastri pass.
Yeah.
And he was like, he hasn't caught up to me. I'm the faster driver. And they just kept coming back on again and again. They're like, you don't want to do this, Norris. You don't want to think of the implications.
Yeah.
And he's like, Norris, this isn't the way to win a championship. Norris, don't do this.
Yeah.
Let Oscar pass.
And they were constantly telling him where to lift.
Yep.
Too, where to go slower,
Yeah.
save the tires.
They were like, oh,
so that Piastri could catch him.
yeah. They were trying to slow him down by saying, oh, you're using the tires too much in turns 4 and 11.
Yeah.
You need to slow down. And Norris knew he didn't need to slow down, so he just didn't. And the team was trying to do everything they could to stop him so that Oscar could get past, and basically shut down Lando's race because of their own mistake, and made Lando feel like he was basically on the brink of losing his job if he didn't slow down to let Oscar pass. When, to be fair, at the end, Lando was the faster driver out of the two.
And then Oscar was pushing so hard to catch up to Lando that he was making mistakes and dropping farther back.
Yeah. And so Oscar was just sliding way back. It was almost up to like a 7-second gap between two of them.
Yeah.
Before Norris finally slowed down on the last lap.
Way down.
Yeah, he had to slow way down.
He came out of the exit of the last corner and just basically barely put the throttle down. Piastri caught up a 4 or 5 second lead deficit and passed him on that straight.
Well, yeah, because Norris had been slowing down just before that too.
Yeah,
but it was up. He had it up to like a 7-second gap.
Slow.
Yeah, like Norris was flying.
So this was completely on McLaren. And earlier in the race, they said you can race, to Norris, they said you can race Piastri for the win.
You guys are allowed to race.
You can race the papaya car ahead, which I thought was interesting that they didn't just say you can race Piastri ahead.
Yeah. Weird choice of words, but whatever.
But anyhow, and then it was a very awkward that. Wasn't that like 10 laps?
It was, yeah.
It was a long time of his engineer badgering him
lap after lap,
not threatening, but the implications.
It was borderline
the higher
ups.
It was, and I get where the engineer was coming from, but dude, you guys messed this up.
Yeah, it's not Norris's fault.
So let me preface this before any of this pit stop shenaniganery happened. Piastri got ahead, stayed ahead right away through. It was one pit stop because it was a 2-stop race.
Yeah,
3 for some people, but through the first pit stop, Piastri stayed ahead, no question.
Yep.
It was easily within his grasp. He did everything right.
Yep.
Then they said to Piastri, "We're thinking of pitting you to cover Hamilton."
Yeah.
They were thinking of pitting Piastri in first to cover Hamilton in fourth.
And to put this in context too, Hamilton had a good race. The Mercedes car was in a different category. McLaren was so much faster than Mercedes that was nonsense.
Yes.
That was absolute nonsense.
And I think he was
for
10
them to be
he was
saying
10 plus I think he was 10 plus seconds back.
I think at the end of the race, Hamilton was 13 seconds behind both McLarens.
But other things happened that slowed him down. But
yeah. But
he was far back enough that I literally I wrote down. I was like, what are they thinking?
Yeah, it just didn't make sense.
They're trying to cover the threat of the undercut. And a little side point here, Andrea Stella admitted while talking to one of the F1 TV presenters, that a lot of times McLaren was looking too broad and was making mistakes based off of that. and they shifted their focus to more thinking, okay, how do we extract the perfect performance right now at this present moment, instead of going, oh, what is everybody else doing?
Yeah.
Like last race
Yeah.
before the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Silverstone.
They put Lando Norris on softs.
Yep.
When it should have been mediums.
Yeah, and they just killed his race. Yeah, it's very obvious.
They only did that because of comparing Hamilton's on mediums and Verstappen's on hards. We should go on softs to gain somehow, but it's like, no, that was the worst tire. That was the worst tire. So they admitted, Andrea Stella admitted that they were making some mistakes by doing that.
Yeah.
And then they proceeded to do just exactly that.
Yeah, they did the exact same thing again. They're so focused on what everybody else is doing that they're not paying attention to their own race.
And the proof in the foolishness of that undercut is that they pitted Norris to cover Hamilton. But in pitting Norris to cover Hamilton, Norris passed Piastri.
Yeah.
That shows how far ahead they were.
Yeah.
There was no losing to Hamilton.
No, it wasn't going to happen. They weren't going to lose to Hamilton. And like, to be so focused on what Hamilton was doing that they just like threw away their one driver's lead.
Yes.
Because they're not paying attention to their own race was crazy.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Crazy. It's like some of the worst strategy I've seen since like Ferrari and Monaco of 2022.
Yeah.
Like
undercut your own driver with your driver in first. Like getting undercut sucks.
Yeah.
And a really good strategist team will avoid that, or a good strategy team will avoid that. But you can come back from one undercut.
Yep.
And we'll get to it later. Max Verstappen had 2 undercuts.
Yeah.
He got undercut twice.
Yep.
And he was pissed. But anyhow, undercutting your own driver with your own driver is obscene. And then
it's crazy.
And then the awkwardness that ensued in telling Norris to let it go, in instructing him and forcing him to let it go, and then Norris having to let it go, give Piastri the win, ruined. Like, I think the team dynamic is pretty hurt now.
I would say so.
And it ruined Piastri's first win. And now what is Lando Norris thinking? Well, he's not allowed to win.
He's not allowed to win. And also, like, Max didn't do that well this race. It was a great chance for Lando to close in on the Drivers' Championship.
Certainly.
And they just were like, nope. We're giving Oscar a win.
We made a mistake. We're embarrassed. We need to make it right now. And you need to help make that right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like, that should have been a conversation to Oscar with the team being like, look, you guys screwed me. What happened here?
Yeah.
That shouldn't have been somehow now.
Oscar, he earned that win in every manner up to that pit stop.
Yeah.
Up to that pit stop. After the pit stop, things got a little squirrely, for sure.
Yeah, a bit dicey. And
for sure.
He wasn't able to put in the same pace that Lando was clocking in there.
Yeah.
The mistakes show that. He wasn't able to keep that pace and catch up to him.
Yes.
We don't know how that would have looked.
My thing is, like,
though.
he's kind of behind because Norris's tires are already fired up, but I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, but, like, whatever.
Without the strategy mistake was the catalyst for this whole situation unfolding that should have never happened.
Yes, yeah.
If they thought clearly and pitted Piastri, then Norris, the race would have continued on and it would have been nothing. And Piastri would have earned his first win. It would have been very celebratory. But now, Piastri's first win is marked by utter embarrassment.
Huge asterisks, because it's like, well, now there is a question mark. Did he earn that? Because all of a sudden you got strategy mistakes being made by McLaren. And
Norris having to give it back.
A win that was handed to him at that point by his teammates slowing down and giving up a 7-second gap. Like,
and then it's not Norris's fault.
It's not Piastri's
that they preferred
fault.
him over Piastri with their horrible strategy call.
Yeah,
it was brutal.
Yeah, and that was the crazy thing to me. It's like
it wasn't even like driver versus driver. It was driver versus driver versus team.
Yeah,
in both situations.
Like, and I don't think there will be any.
Talk about a fast track to ruining your team dynamic.
There won't be any ill will between Norris and Oscar out of this because,
I don't think so.
Realistically, it's not either of their fault. But like, if they talk to each other at all or like each other in any way, there's no way they're not both sitting there being like, the team just screwed us there. The team screwed us. They screwed you. They screwed me. Like, it was their poor decision to give Norris the better strategy.
Yeah.
And it was their poor decision to then be like, whoopsies, actually, Norris, stop driving so that we can
Yeah.
make up for that.
Yeah.
Like, crazy. That was crazy.
And then, yeah, the embarrassment for both of them, then going through all the presser questions and the podium.
That was an awkward podium.
Yeah.
That was an awkward podium. The cool down room was awkward because you could tell, like, Lando
Norris
was trying.
furious.
He was trying to act like he wasn't angry, but then when, like, Lewis came in, he
Yeah.
was like, wow, you guys were fast today. Norris just, like, led into Hamilton, and Hamilton was
He was
like,
like,
whoa,
you had
man.
a fast car 7 years ago, and then he's like, I'm just saying, your car is fast, bro.
Yeah, like, Hamilton was like,
Yeah.
I'm just complimenting you guys.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And
So,
it was...
It was crazy awkward, and that's McLaren's fault and nobody else's.
Mhm.
And
But-
they're trying to make Norris look like a bad guy when
Oh.
it's not Norris's fault.
But what should F1... What F1 couldn't have done anything? The FIA should not have done anything either.
No,
This
yeah.
is silly team antics.
Nobody should have done anything there. Other than McLaren should have.
McLaren will suffer
Yeah,
whatever this brings.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
who will suffer.
Like, McLaren's not ready to fight for a championship.
Clearly.
They have a car to do it,
They
similar
do.
to Ferrari back in 2022.
Don't put that on McLaren. That's not fair.
This is, I mean,
It's not fair.
still. Like, we have a couple races in a row now where McLaren can fight at the front. They can fight for wins, and they're making really bad calls.
Yeah.
They don't know how to handle being in
Dynamic.
a winning position.
Winning, but like, yeah, a dynamic scenario.
Yeah. They're not prepared for a race that isn't just completely straightforward. And to be fair, this race is probably as straightforward as you're going to get
Yes.
from them. And they
Yes.
still screwed it up.
Yes.
So, like, I don't know. They're looking rough. And
Yeah.
Need
But
to
should
get their act
should
together.
anybody have done anything about it?
no.
Absolutely not.
No. You can, like, yeah. So, in terms of the fan email, you can be as mad at McLaren as you want.
But only McLaren.
Only McLaren.
Neither driver
Neither driver.
at all.
Not F1 itself, not the FIA.
Nope.
You can't be mad at anybody but McLaren.
If the FIA got involved, I would be mad.
Same.
I would be unhappy with that. I
Same.
don't like the FIA getting involved in much.
I don't either. I think it's
Mostly just penalties.
the regulations. I mean, we've had Alonso saying this a lot lately, but the regulations are already pretty stringent as it is, and we've
Yeah.
had some silly calls from the FIA stepping in already this year.
Yeah.
We really don't need them any more than they've already stepped in.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep, I think so too. And then the second part of the Superfans question, a more technical question involving Mr. Crash himself, Perez. At what point does the team get fined or penalized for the amount of cash going into a car? And there's an addendum which says that Perez's cost so far of crashing is $2.9 million. It could be
Well,
euros this year. I believe it.
I
might
think
be
that was
euros.
dollars. That was in the
Okay.
stat I saw was in dollars,
Okay.
and it was I think also 2.9 million.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's say dollars. How will they be penalized? Well, they've had to pay $2.9 million to repair the car.
that they otherwise would not have to. So they now have to save $2.9 million somewhere.
Yeah, because that comes out of their budget, right?
Mhm.
Like, that's part of the cost cap.
I would hope so.
I think it is.
I would hope so.
I was under that impression when Mick kept crashing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yep, they just got penalized.
Yep. They got penalized every single time that he crashed the car by having
Yeah.
to fix it and spend money on those parts.
Yeah. They're getting penalized.
Perez.
That's the answer there.
He was out, and just so let's get into that.
All
Perez
right.
got knocked out in Q1 again because he basically totaled his car.
He did total his car. Perez
He
spun
started-
out in a weird spot and crashed the car. The car could not get started again. They had to lift it out from a crane,
And they red flagged the session.
and they red flagged the session, and it meant that he got eliminated in the first round of qualifying again.
And
So-
now the Red Bull was not the fastest car at this track.
Second fastest.
We know that. The second fastest, though.
It was the second fastest. So, yep, you have the second fastest car once again starting in
17th. He started
17th.
17th.
Oh, right. I went too high. I meant to say, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, 17th. 17th.
So that was Perez in
Yeah.
qualifying.
Perez in qualifying. So yes, again, another poor
Standard.
performance from Perez.
Yep.
Let's just deal with this and get it out of the way. He did have a fine race. He made it back up into the points, which he should, because again, he's in the second fastest
He
car.
made it from P17 to P7, which
Yep.
I want to say is impressive, but I can't bring myself to say it.
I can't either.
I really cannot bring myself to say it, because who did he finish behind?
Tell me. Hit me.
Both Ferraris, both Mercedes, the other Red Bull, both McLaren, both Ferraris, a Mercedes and a Red Bull.
Yep. Because George Russell was just behind him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not a terribly impressive performance.
Good on the team for setting every foot right, I guess, so that he could make that happen.
I mean, the only top team that he beat there, though, is one Mercedes that also started at the back of the field.
Yeah, because he got screwed as well.
He did get screwed.
Not enough fuel in the car.
Do you have the stat on that? Did Russell start behind Perez or in front?
Well, I only write down the top 10, so
Ooh.
don't know. Don't know.
I can't remember.
I
But-
would trust in a Red Bull's ability to pass a Mercedes. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, would I?
Yeah, we'll get into that a bit
We'll get
later.
into that.
We'll get into that.
So Perez back to his old ways.
Yeah, this is like the 6th race in a row or something that he's just really
Did he
underperformed.
get out-qualified by the GOAT Logan
He
Sargent
did
again?
get out qualified by Logan Sargent again, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this was another Logan Sargent out qualifying Perez because I think Logan made it into Q2.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you might be right. I won't even look it up. We'll just spout it as fact.
Yeah, we'll spread it as fact. Because I think it was the Sauber cars that were out.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, the Alpines. The Alpines did really
Right.
poor. They were both out
Yeah,
in
they did.
Q1.
Yep.
And then Russell was also out in Q1, Perez. And then I think it was probably one of the
Saubers.
Saubers. So,
Let's get into that news.
okay.
And I gotta apologize. I did not see. I had horrible service where I was today.
Yes.
David sent me a bit of news when it broke.
I sent it like first thing this morning.
I didn't see it
Yeah.
until later in the afternoon, and I texted him because I did not see that. But
Yeah.
anyways, and then David said, "Yeah, I know." Infamous Ferrari team principal Matteo Binotto
Love him.
is taking over the head honcho role
Yes.
for Audi in 2026.
Yep. They're firing Andreas Seidel.
He's leaving.
Sorry. He's chosen to leave.
Andreas Seidel is leaving. Andreas Seidel, who used to be the team principal of McLaren.
Yeah, at McLaren. Who then went to what is soon to be Audi
Yes.
as part of their program to like restructure that team. And like what, 1 year after he's entered that role, they have now chosen to get rid of him.
Was it 1 or was it 2?
'Cause
2022.
It was last year that McLaren said they were
3.
restructuring.
He was
in the
out. He
system.
was at Sauber for 2023.
Oh, okay. So 2 years.
So he was
Well,
there
a
for
year and a
2 years.
half.
Yeah, a year and a half. But
Year and a
anyways,
half.
Matteo Binotto, who, for anybody who's listening to this podcast, Matteo Binotto was the team principal for Ferrari in the year that matters in 2022.
2022, yeah.
He's my arch nemesis. He's my
Yeah.
sworn enemy. He is the reason that Charles Leclerc did not win a championship that year. He is.
He is the team
is.
principal that quite famously said that he was not interested in winning the championship. Their target was just to be competitive.
Yeah.
When
When he had the fastest car
Yeah, when he had the
In
fastest
hand.
car.
in hand in 2022.
So he
Winning a championship was not a priority. I will never forgive him.
he has made his way back into F1.
I wanted Audi to do well,
I don't
but no longer.
I have no idea why this even happened.
I don't know either.
I'm like
They must have
actually
been like
confused.
Gunther Steiner, Mattia Bonanno, and it's like there was a
Well,
race
they were good
winner too.
friends.
I know that they are.
They are,
There's
yeah.
a race winner too with this one, so we'll take him.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that one's bizarre, eh? I don't know what those.
It'll be fun. It'll be
I-
fun.
I'd love to know what those discussions look like.
Like our discussion before this podcast when we were discussing American politics, and in conclusion,
we were.
it's going to be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
This the American politics this year is going to be fun,
Fun election.
and Mattia Binotto existing in F1 again is going to be fun.
That's
and it's
also
even
fun.
more fun that he's not heading up a team that I actually cheer for.
What, you didn't want to cheer for Audi?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like Audi.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I like Audi R8s
Oh, I don't like the Audi R8 very much.
and Audi race cars.
Audi R8s are kind of a scumbag car.
Don't care.
Only scumbags own them, and only scumbags drive them.
I agree, but I don't care. I'll own one and drive one someday.
Okay.
Therefore proving that I'm a scumbag.
Yeah. How you changed, Noah?
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
All right.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. My opinion of Audi. They're basically just badged up Volkswagens. I hate Volkswagens, but
Yeah, I don't. love
Volkswagens hurt
Volkswagen.
me. I wish Volkswagen had an F1 team, and it was just a Passat.
It's just a Passat. It's their rally car that they used to have. It's a
Yeah.
Volkswagen Polo.
Yeah, it's a Polo. Anyhow, we're off topic.
Cruising around.
That could be the safety car. We are off topic.
That'd be a
So
fun
where?
safety
So
car.
should we start with the race? Because I watched some free practice, and then I watched Charles Leclerc crash, and then I decided I'm bad luck, so I didn't watch anything until the race again.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else of note from qualifying.
Should I
to
start
talk
with
about.
Should I start with the starting grid for the race?
Yeah, start with the starting grid.
So first we had Lando Norris. He was on pole. Piastri was second. Third was Verstappen. Fourth was Sainz. Pretty good result there. Fifth
Yep.
was Hamilton. Sixth was Leclerc. Seventh was Alonso. Pretty good there too. Eighth was Stroll. Ninth was Ricciardo. 10th was Tsunoda. So a very interesting top 10
But yeah, I'd agree.
because the Hungarian track was really hard this year.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of people were getting squirrely. Their runoffs were different. And yeah, I think just the speed that they're getting out of the cars now is
It's a lot.
it's exceeding what people can do safely and
Yeah.
reliably. So
Yeah.
to see the Aston Martins up there on a hard track,
I was excited by that.
I'm excited about that. 7th and 8th.
It seems
Ricciardo
like
and
they're
Tsunoda qualifying 9th and 10th. That's pretty impressive too.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's wild.
Both of them out qualifying Perez again. This has actually happened a lot lately.
In a junior team car.
in a junior team car. Because they're literally a team that's designed to never beat Red Bull, because it's owned by Red Bull.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was wild. And there is something I wanted to talk about from qualifying.
Okay.
First round of qualifying, we did talk about the crash from Perez. There was
Ooh, the
another.
Alonso situation.
No.
Oh,
There's another tidbit.
what's that?
Ricciardo got the fastest time in the
In
first
Q1.
round of qualifying.
Yes, he did.
He set a blisteringly fast pace that nobody else could seem to come close to. I don't know if they just got their timing right or what was going on there, but holy crap.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
He topped the timing sheet the exact same time that Perez crashed out.
Yeah. No,
Again.
it was after it got restarted.
Oh,
I
it
think.
was.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
after,
sorry,
after
in the same,
session
in
got
the same
restarted.
session.
Yeah,
in the
same
same-
session.
yeah.
Session. Not same time though.
Yes.
But like Hamilton's time stood for a while. Nobody seemed to be able to touch it.
Mhm.
So for Ricciardo to come through and all of a sudden just set like a time that beat that by a fair
it is
chunk,
impressive.
it was like, oh, whoa,
Yeah.
oh. We're starting to see a bit of better performances again from Ricciardo.
Yep.
And that's kind of exciting.
Yep.
I still think he'd be the best pick to replace Perez, personally. Who else are you choosing?
New blood. Literally any new blood.
That's not how Red Bull operates.
Please don't put a 35-year-old.
That's
a
not
car.
how Red Bull operates. They're gonna.
I
put
want you
in
to toss. I want you to toss somebody in there.
Every-
a goldfish to piranhas. That's what I
every
want.
time they've put in a younger or more rookie driver.
It doesn't work.
It hasn't worked out for
I
them.
want to see it happen again.
They're gonna toss somebody with more experience. It has to be either Sonoda or Ricardo. It has to be.
I don't think Tsunoda does well.
Tsunoda would crumble.
Mm-hmm.
He's way too hot-headed and angry.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a disaster to put him up against Verstappen.
Mm-hmm.
They would actually crumble.
And I think Ricciardo would actually slot into a second driver slot at this point. But
I think he would. I think he knows where his bread is buttered, so to speak.
I think he knows where to fry his egg roll. I think he knows.
I think Mr. Inserino knows a thing or two.
I think Mr. Ricardo knows which species of shrimp has fried his rice.
Oh, yeah. Got him.
Shrimp fried rice.
But
You're telling me a shrimp? Anyways.
I think that would make sense.
It would
So
make
that
sense,
was something to talk about.
but it's not as cool.
What Alonso situation in qualifying are you talking about?
When they red flagged the session, told him to take his car to Parc Ferme, he pulled up behind the AP, the F1 movie car. He pulled up behind the F1 movie car, and then they went, no, get back to the pits.
What?
Yeah.
What? I don't even understand.
When Perez crashed,
yeah.
he was told to go to Parc Ferme, not to the pits.
Oh.
As in the session's like done, not getting restarted, over.
Yeah.
And then he got out of the car, and then the FIA officials were like, no, go to the pits. I don't know why he was so mad about it.
Yeah.
Because it worked out okay.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, they did.
But I think he kind of had to scramble to get the car started and get back
to
the pits. But
yeah, no, that's I think the extent of qualifying stuff that happened.
yes,
probably.
yes.
So the race.
The race. First note: has Norris learned nothing? Lap 1, turn 1.
Yeah.
Has he learned nothing?
Yeah.
Spain all over, just a Spain repeat. He
What?
covers the inside too much
Yep.
because he didn't quite get off the line as good as the guy in second,
Yep.
and he gets passed by the guy in third.
Yeah. It keeps
fourth.
happening time and time again. Norris has never stayed in first place after getting pole position.
Which is brutal.
That is a brutal stat.
There's a lot of pressure, but it's like 6 times now.
He just doesn't get very good race starts.
Yeah.
He's not really the best at getting off the line.
It's true.
He's just not.
It's true.
It's not a strong suit.
So that was tough, but to watch him repeat exactly what he did in Spain
Yeah,
was
it
a
hurt.
little tougher. I was like, come on, man.
It hurt.
Don't cover the inside that hard. Just let your teammate take the place. And then, because he's fighting so hard to keep first that he's dropping to third or fourth.
Yep.
And it's not the thing to do. If anything, you should let your teammate slot ahead of you into first, and then you can get him
back.
You
Yeah.
can get him back that same lap.
Yeah, you
But
can.
you've secured your second place position.
Yeah.
So that was my first note.
So kind of what happened there was the first corner. It was a very interesting first corner.
It was.
Norris tried to cut in towards Piastri, who was on the inside of the corner, and kind of muscle him out of the way so that he couldn't quite get up alongside Norris. But this just kind of caused them to all sort of go wide around the corner. And then Verstappen tried to come around the outside of Norris, who was already on the outside of Piastri.
Right. I forgot about this.
And Verstappen just drove straight off the track
And
put
just
the
kept
hammer down.
Just kept it pinned.
Yep, just kept his throttle straight to the floor.
And he went quite far off, too.
He did. He went very far off, and just was like, "Yep, this is fine. I'm gonna do this."
Passes Norris with that extra speed.
Yep. And for context, you are not allowed to overtake somebody off the track
When you are off the track.
Yeah,
And Verstappen was never ahead.
No.
And he blasted past Norris off track and then rejoined.
Yeah, and then rejoined.
And then was mad.
And then he was extremely angry
he was
about
furious.
it. So
they were too wide. Piastri was exiting the corner and going wider.
Yep.
Norris was outside of him. As a lot of the presenters said, Norris actually could have taken the escape road too and done the same thing.
He chose
He
not
didn't.
to.
He let out of it a little bit, stayed on track.
Yeah.
Verstappen launches off track and then just drag races past Norris. So he had to give that place back.
I worry sometimes that Norris is trying to win a championship too cleanly.
Yeah.
I think he almost needs to be a bit more aggressive But regardless,
Well,
in a sense.
Austria happened.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. Austria happened, but again,
His decision making in
Lando
those
did
moments
everything-
is interesting.
Lando did everything right in Austria and just tried to keep it clean.
It's true.
And then
I don't know how that could have ended differently.
yeah, like again, Lando's trying very hard to keep it clean and win a very clean way. I respect that.
Yeah.
But I almost wonder if that's going to be his downfall.
Maybe.
It's just a thought that's crossed my mind.
I don't even know if he needs to almost be. I don't know if he has a dirty racing bone in his body.
He almost
The
needs to be a
closest-
bit more dirty.
The closest thing was pushing Max in Spain,
though. Yeah,
but that's just start.
yeah, and that's kind of normal.
Whatever.
Um,
Anyhow, but Verstappen had to give that back, and Red Bull told him that they have to give that back.
yeah, it
He
was about a lap later.
furious.
Yep.
And then his race engineer said, "You were never ahead at the apex.
Yeah.
You were never ahead."
Well, so, his engineer first came on and he was like, "We got to give it back. We want to avoid any action from the stewards."
Yeah.
And Verstappen was like, "Why? Just let the stewards do their thing and let's hear from them."
Yeah.
So like Verstappen was basically like, "I want to see if they'll actually give me a penalty."
Yeah.
And the engineer was like,
You were
"No.
never ahead."
Yeah, you're not gonna win this one."
Which is it was kind of, or wait, was it or was that the Hamilton move? I think I'm changing them up. No, that was the Hamilton
it was
move.
the Hamilton move where he said
That
you
was
were
the
never
Hamilton
ahead.
move that he said you were never ahead.
Yeah,
That was crazy to hear.
that was.
There
But-
was so much radio drama in this
well,
race.
especially from Max.
For
Max was on
everybody.
the radio a lot this race.
And none of it was happy.
None of it was happy. Some of it was fair. Some of it was kind of just Max being a baby.
The only things that I found fair was like when he was reporting what the car wasn't doing for him.
Yes,
That was very fair.
That's fair.
That's
But the
completely
rest
fair.
of it was kind of like, "Oh, all right, Max."
Yeah.
This one where he was getting upset about having to give the position back to Norris, it's like he knows how it works. He overtook off the track.
Very clearly.
was always gonna have to
clearly
get that
gained an
position
advantage
back.
by going off track.
Yeah, like it was just silly. So for him to like immediately get mad about it and like get in a huff about it, it was like you screwed up, man. Like
Yeah.
you drove straight off the track. Complained that you got pushed wide, which like
It
you
wasn't
weren't
even any pushing.
you weren't alongside of them. Like you
Yeah.
you were supposed to back off and you chose not to. And then you just got angry about it. So like I don't know. Very silly.
Very silly.
Very silly. That was Max incident number 1.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to come.
There is.
There's more to come. Hamilton gained some positions off the hop.
He did. He almost got past Norris.
He almost got past Norris.
Yep.
That would have been exciting.
Yep.
But yeah, like fantastic start from Hamilton. He had a really good launch. Perez lost 2 positions at the start.
Did
I
he
wanted to
really?
note that. Yes, Perez lost 2 positions at the race start.
No way.
He did. He did. I saw that.
Two.
I don't even know. He dropped 2 positions at the race start. Because when they pull up the graphic, right? They show who's gone up and down. Perez had down 2. And I was like, what did he do? Like, what is this guy doing? But he did lose 2 positions at the start somehow. I don't know how. I don't know.
There was only Russell, Guan Yu Zhou, Ocon, and Gasly.
He lost a position to Russell. That was one of them. And then I think he lost a position to like Gasly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Gasly had a good launch, and Perez lost a position to both Gasly and Russell, I'm pretty sure. So, like, as much as this kind of on paper looks like an okay race from Perez, it really wasn't.
It was pretty close to not being.
Yeah, and as much as we don't want to keep talking about him this much, it's like he's not doing well. He's just not driving well.
No.
And he's in a top team not driving well. So guess what? You're
You
going to get
gotta
more
talk
scrutiny.
about it. You gotta talk about it.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You're going to
there's-
get talked about.
Yeah, the whole Verstappen letting Norris pass was like lap 4. So that all happened very quickly.
Yeah, it was a couple laps later, and then
Yeah.
he
And
let Norris
then-
back past.
Let's talk about one of the biggest crimes of this race.
Yeah, okay.
The early pit for Fernando Alonso.
Yes, they did pit him quite early.
They pitted him like lap 8.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like one of the first to enter into the pits. I don't know if he was the first, but he was one of the first.
He was in the first round.
Yeah,
I
first
think-
round of people pitting.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were going for there. I don't know if they were trying to just have like a huge undercut or something, but like it was questionable.
Like they clearly were not paying attention to the pit delta and where he was going to come out on track.
No.
He came out behind Nico Hülkenberg.
Yeah.
If you're a midfield team, the last person this year that you want to come out behind is Nico Hülkenberg.
He's driving well.
He's going to hold on to that place really freaking well.
He will. And also Haas, even though this wasn't their best race, they've had good pace lately.
They have.
You don't really want to be stuck behind a Haas
that.
at the moment.
No.
Like, you just don't. They're actually driving well. And even, like, Hungary's not the easiest track to pass on. So if you're driving behind somebody that's even kind of close in pace, it's not going to be the easiest pass. Like, if they're remotely okay at defending, you're not in a good position. So, yeah, that was very bad for Alonso. He came out in a horrible spot.
And just got locked up behind Hülkenberg.
Yeah, lost a ton of time.
And then Stroll got pitted and came out behind Magnussen. Like, it was just a repeat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking. They went from 7th and 8th to 14th and 16th.
Aston Martin has made a few bad strategy calls this year, I've noticed. And
yeah.
I'm surprised because the last couple years prior to that, they've been so good on strategy.
Yeah.
Like, they've had some crazy races where they came out way further ahead than they should have because their strategy was so good.
But this race, like, the second that I see somebody pit under lap 10, I'm like, okay, who thinks this is a good idea? And then I go through like a series of like almost like a troubleshooting chart. It's like, okay, is this team a midfield team or low field team? And if the answer is yes, then it's like be surprised and disappointed. If the answer is no, then it's like business as usual.
Yeah.
Lower end teams do that all the time because all they're trying to do is compete against the lower 3 teams.
Yep.
So they're trying to cover off other bad teams. Aston Martin qualified basically the 3rd best team.
Yeah.
Essentially.
4th
best team on the grid.
Yep.
And they were acting like they were the 8th best team on the grid with their strategy.
Yeah. It was very reminiscent.
They haven't even used up the first set of tires yet.
No.
Really.
No. It was very reminiscent of Canada 2022 when they just pitted Vettel after like 5 laps and were like, let's just keep pitting him.
Yeah.
Let's put him in the pits again.
Yeah.
They like pitted him.
Like, who are you going to undercut when you did an extra pit stop?
Yeah. They like pitted him after 5 laps in that race. He drove like 5 more laps and they like pitted him again. And it was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Crazy. So that was like criminal.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not going to go well. And sure enough, it didn't. Came out behind Hülkenberg, got locked up back there for the entire race, basically.
Yeah, and it made it so that Aston Martin, who was looking really promising this race, all of a sudden they finished the race, like Alonso finished 11th, just outside of the points.
Yeah.
Stroll finished 10th, got 1 point for the team.
Should we talk about that?
Yes, let's talk about that, because this was a bit controversial, you know. I didn't realize this until after the race.
I didn't realize that it happened either. I actually missed the top 10, and I wrote down that Alonso finished 10th because I was keeping track of where he was.
No, yeah, and he did not finish 10th.
He did not.
But the reason that he didn't finish 10th is quite sad. Basically, Alonso was running in 10th behind Tsunoda. Stroll was 11th. Alonso had driven this weekend very well.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fantastic driver. They told Alonso to let Stroll past to have a chance at overtaking Tsunoda, and they said to Alonso that if Stroll couldn't get past, they'd swap them back around. So Alonso let Stroll past so that Stroll could take a crack at Tsunoda. Stroll did not get past Tsunoda. He didn't even get close, really. And they didn't swap the drivers back around. They never made any attempt to swap them back around. So Alonso was ticked at the end of the race because he would have been in a point-scoring position, and they just gave it to Stroll.
Yeah.
They just gave it to Stroll. and it was really questionable. I don't know what's going on at Aston Martin, but that's a low move.
I think we can guess.
Well, yeah. Yeah, Stroll. Nepo baby.
Did you see that headline
No.
from Jalopnik?
No, what was the headline? Hit me.
It's like, I can't even, it's like something Nepo baby keeps job because daddy bought company or something like that.
Okay, I have a question for you.
It's crazy.
The
Jalopnik went nuts.
Did you see the headline, or I don't know if it was a headline so much. It was a quote from Mike Crack, the team principal at Aston Martin, that they did indeed shop around before deciding to re-sign Stroll. He was like, we looked at the market and we felt Stroll was our best option. That's what he said in an interview recently.
Was the camera zoomed out enough to see the gun to his head? Or not? Could you see the laser? Did you see the sniper's laser on his chest?
Yeah.
Like sitting there, he's like, we actually we shopped around a lot. He's like trying to find where the guy is.
Like, we just think Stroll is better than anybody else on the grid, right?
And then he just locks eyes with the guy who's trained his weapon on him.
Blinks twice, and then is like just sitting there.
We actually shopped around, and he was the best option. And then you just see it click off.
Yeah.
No more laser on the chest.
He's just sweating buckets. It's like the Key and Peele meme where he's just sitting there like
water's running down his face. He's like constantly wiping his face.
Yeah.
No.
We really like Stroll.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I don't believe that at all.
I don't believe it either. I don't think Stroll is the worst driver on the planet.
There's no way you looked at signs and said no.
Yeah, exactly. And what fun that would have been. All Spanish lineup.
That would have been fantastic.
Oh my goodness, what fun. I can't remember if we talked about this. I know I talked about it with my dad, but I saw this and I thought it was quite funny. I think I might have sent it to you as
Perhaps.
well. But there was a thing that was like, Audi has the chance to do the funniest thing ever.
Oh, yes.
So the news came out
Yes.
that Magnussen is not getting re-signed by Haas.
Which is ridiculous.
It means that they'll probably hire Ocon.
Ugh.
We forgot to talk about this in the news.
I didn't want to talk about it.
But we've talked before about how little we like Ocon, so we don't need to get into that too much. But
as a driver, we don't know him as a
driver,
person.
He might be a lovely person. But Magnussen is getting fired from Haas. They're letting him go at the end of the year or at the end of the season.
Criminal.
And
their only pole sitter.
Yeah, their only pole sitter ever. A long-standing member of the team. He came in when they wanted to get rid of Mick, and he just killed it. Actually,
showed them that they should get rid of Mick. Showed them that they absolutely were right in wanting to get rid of Mick. He showed up because they fired Nikita Mazepin. They got a gift.
I realized it like 5 seconds after I said Mick. I was like, no, it's Nikita.
It's okay. We'll just say that we meant that anyways and keep going.
Yeah.
We'll create our own reality.
Yeah.
They had a gift bestowed upon them on how to fire a driver.
Yes.
And they took it.
Yes.
And then they went, we'd like Kevin Magnussen back. And he came and then he showed them that we should actually fire this other driver.
Yeah, they were like,
too.
Yeah, actually Mick is also bad. We should probably get rid of him.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Mick just said in an interview recently that he feels his chances of getting back into F1 are looking very good.
As a test driver.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Look great as a test driver. His World Endurance Championship performance doesn't look that great. But anyways.
Yeah,
Anyhow.
Whatever.
When you're driving an Alpine, it's not really fair.
But it means because Magnussen is now a free agent.
Yes.
Audi
could
just steal Haas's entire lineup. They've already signed Hülkenberg. They could sign Magnussen as well.
I would be so happy if they did.
It's a good pairing.
A Hülkenberg Magnussen pairing led by Binotto. This would be a nightmare team, but it might just be crazy enough to work.
I want to see it. I'm there for it. I want to see it.
We need more. This is what we're all about. We're all about blood sport.
Yeah.
We need a sacrifice. We need something to go wrong regularly. We want that kind of entertainment. And Liberty, Liberty Media, if you're watching this, all North Americans want that. Why do you think North Americans like NASCAR?
Yeah.
It's because there's a healthy chance that you're going to see two drivers get in a fight afterwards.
They're going to bump.
Is that reasonable?
They're going to bump real good.
I want you to never say that again. Is it reasonable to fight somebody in the pits over a disagreement as millionaires over a car race? Absolutely not.
No.
But the world is not reasonable. North Americans are not reasonable.
No.
We need blood in the water.
It's true.
We need to put our thumb out, and it always goes down. It never goes up.
Like, so NASCAR fans can't imagine a race without a crash. And there's just far too many.
Or 3 hours of cautions.
Like, they can't really imagine a race without 500 laps. You know how it is.
500 laps and 6 hours of full course cautions where people are just driving around. I can't do it.
I hate NASCAR.
I used to watch
much.
NASCAR ovals, and then I have better things to do. The road racing, when they turn right, it's really good racing.
Is it?
It is.
I've only seen it a couple times.
It's really good.
Okay.
But anyhow. You know what else?
Still 500
laps? A little complaint. This is just a little complaint. No, it's not. It's a reasonable distance because it turns out that you can only drive 500 laps when you're driving one direction. It's kind of hard to do that both ways. Anyways, yeah, except for the 24 hours of Le Mans.
Right.
Anyhow, a little gripe of mine that I think American motorsports has to change. I don't know where it came. Well, I have an idea where it came from. They got to chill out with referring to cars by the number.
What do you mean? Oh, true.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
The number 34 car is coming up behind.
The 86 car got loose. He bumped the 96, and then the 69 came upside down. Like, stop.
The 88 of Kyle Busch is coming up behind the number 14 car right there.
Yeah.
Like they always talk like that. You're right.
Stop it. It's
You're
infected IndyCar. All right. It's infected IMSA racing.
Yeah.
They're always talking about the number of the car. You know what most people don't know? Okay, let's take a good example. What is Sergio Perez's number?
Is it 6?
No.
Okay.
It's 11. What's George Russell's number?
Is it 17?
It's 63. What's Oscar Piastri's number?
Is it 7?
This is proving my point. It's 81. What's Lando Norris's number?
4.
There we go.
His I know, but he's been in the sport for a while.
What's Charles Leclerc's number?
Is it 44?
16.
No, I'm thinking of Carlos Sainz, and that's still wrong.
Yeah.
That's right. That's 16.
Carlos Sainz is 55.
Yeah.
They refer to the drivers by their names because that's how you refer to a person is by their names.
It's very humanizing.
If you're watching NFL and they go, yeah, number 45 really got up under the slot, you're not going to know what's going on.
Imagine in like a game of hockey and they're just referring to the numbers of all the players the entire time.
It'd be ridiculous.
Like 44 is past 14, 14 or
they
to
gotta
13,
cut that out.
13
they gotta cut
on
that out.
12.
If I get a job as a motorsports commentator, I am never referring to a numbered car.
I think they just don't want to remember all the drivers' names.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I will say I will give them one grace period, basically, like IMSA Racing, which is like the North American Endurance Championship. Basically, there's a bunch of different racing under that umbrella. But anyhow, it doesn't matter. There are multiple drivers for each car.
Yeah.
So I understand that.
Yeah, that makes a bit
That
more
would be
sense.
like the only time where you should use a number because like there will be, like in Le Mans, even as an example, there are 2 Ferraris, but there are 8 drivers of those 2 Ferraris. There's 4 each.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to go the number 1 Ferrari or the number 2 Ferrari.
Yeah.
That's fine, but you're still referring to it as the Ferrari. Instead of going the number 688 car bumped the the number 3 car, and then he got into the stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. And I'm sorry if you liked that,
Yep.
but nobody's listening to car races on AM on like radio.
It wouldn't
We're
be
watching it.
If you were listening on radio, it'd be terribly confusing to just hear the numbers as
You'd
well.
have to be autistic level of understanding what the grid was like.
Yeah.
You'd have to. Sorry, I just bumped
that's
you.
fine.
I just
Yeah,
bumped
you're
your
bumping
foot.
my
That was
foot.
crazy. We got to get over this. We got to get past this. That was Noah's rant. We're done.
Yeah.
It's over. Okay. Where did we end up?
We were talking about
Alonso's race.
His race last. But yeah, Alonso kind of got screwed by the team there to bring it back on track of where we were. Unfortunate.
It took Alonso 20 laps to get past Hulkenberg.
Yeah, wow.
It was over halfway through the race by the time he
note.
got past
Good
Hulkenberg. I knew I had that somewhere.
No, you're making a lot of sense lately.
What? Did you just say to me?
Just making a lot of sense lately now.
Why are you being weird?
What?
Why are you making this political?
I don't know. I just think you're making a lot of sense lately.
Next year, me asked me about Pirates and Cowboys. But anyways.
Pirates of the Caribbean?
No.
Oh, you want to talk about Pirates and Cowboys, eh?
No, I don't want to. I said I don't want to make this political.
You want to talk
I
about
don't want to make this political.
Pirates and Cowboys? Huh?
Where do we get back into here? Ricardo got screwed.
Ricardo did get screwed. I didn't actually know what happened to him.
Real bad. They pitted him early, and he got undercut.
Oh, that's what
real
happened.
bad.
Yeah, because Tsunoda
Like
still did
P17,
fine.
like P17 bad.
I was so confused because Ricardo out-qualified Tsunoda, and all of a sudden he was at the bottom of the field. And I was like,
that
what
actually wasn't
happened?
Ricardo's fault explicitly. I don't know what he was doing pace-wise, but he got
we don't know that
on the hizzy. On the glizzy.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate because he'd been doing really well this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I want Ricardo to have the best chance to display his ability.
Yes.
He's a hard character, hard cat to read, that one. We know he's done well in the past, but he's
performance-wise.
Yeah, performance-wise.
He's pretty emotional and shows exactly
No,
what he's feeling.
not in terms of his press coverage or anything.
Yeah.
But I want to know how he actually stacks up against Tsunoda, and when they're making mistakes like that in the pit lane, you don't get to know.
It's
and that makes me angry.
And that's not fair to us fans.
Yeah. I just want to see if Ricardo is the true successor of Perez's seat.
Yes.
Yes. Noah doesn't believe anymore. This guy, he went from being the staunch Ricardo fan.
Let's distract this whole
What an
podcast. Everything is a teeter-totter.
Uh-huh.
And there's a balance to be kept.
I was always trash talking Ricardo.
There's a perfect balance in any given moment. This is why David and I work together. There's a perfect balance. The second I give up on Ricardo, David will pick it up.
Yeah. All of a sudden I'm like, well, guess
gives
what?
up on Ricardo, I will pick it up.
I'm like, I like Ricardo now.
Actually, I liked him the whole time. You know what? He's not so bad. Now that he's back in F1, I do like him.
You fell for my trap card.
Exactly. So anyhow, what was I going to say? Pierre Gasly retires on lap 35.
This guy. So this isn't Gasly's fault.
At all.
I hate Alpine so much. I can't get over this. I hate them. They keep costing me points in our fantasy pool because Gasly keeps retiring for mechanical failures. Which, another piece of news. Alpine has officially announced they're going to use Mercedes engines.
Oh, did they?
They did. Yes, another news item that we forgot about. So yeah, Alpine has officially given up on their engine program, and they plan to use Mercedes engines moving forward. I don't know if that's supposed to start, and I imagine that starts 2026.
It was only this year that they said, we're not selling the team, but if we did, that person would have to use our engines.
Yeah, they have backpedaled so hard on everything. So maybe they are gearing up to sell the team, and who knows? I don't know anymore. Throw Throw in Hyundai as a team. That'd be fun. Toyota was making waves saying that they might do a technical partnership with Haas, but then Haas has agreed to keep using Ferrari engines, so I don't know. But that was apparently a thing in the works, potentially. So who knows? And I just want to say as well on this topic, I'm just kind of yapping and
Go for
rambling
it.
a little bit
I mean,
in a very
chocolate
fast
almond.
manner. I'm talking very quickly. I want to say Toyota and Haas would be quite a good pairing because their colors are the same. It would work very well.
Oh, you're right.
Yes, black, red, and white. That is what Toyota always uses in all their other racing
Because
series.
I was like, I didn't think that Haas was a silver Camry base model. But
No, it's
No,
like
you're
kind
right.
of beigey
the
gold
Gazoo
Camry.
Racing. Yeah. The
That's more
Jewish
accurate.
Jewish Racing Gold, as I've seen that referred to, which I like.
Okay.
I like that color. It is a very nice color.
I don't like that color very much. Uh-oh. Don't look at me like that.
Like I said, teeter-totter, balance. Anyways, no.
But yeah.
I
Some
think
news items again.
I feel really bad for Gasly because he got to keep his job, whereas Ocon performed and behaved poorly and lost his job. But it seems as though Ocon is in a better position to get a better drive than Gasly is while keeping his job.
This is very true.
This is kind of a failing upwards and succeeding downwards.
Yeah,
of
Alpine
scenario.
seems like they're falling apart at the seams, both eliminating their own engine program, which has been running for decades, and then choosing also to just have their car blow up every other weekend.
That's 3 in a row now.
It might be.
That's 3 in a row that Gasly has not finished.
Yeah.
Silverstone.
I knew it was Silverstone for sure as well.
Silverstone was lap 1. This one is lap 35.
Did he not finish in Austria? I thought he did, but I'm not confident about that. Noah will look that up though.
I will.
We'll get that information to the viewers. We know they are very excited to know whether Gasly finished the race in Austria or not. It's something that we all wonder about.
Oh no, he got a point.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought he did well.
That's
in
right. Sorry.
Austria.
Yeah, he did. He has had another DNF earlier this season.
Yeah, I think
but
there was another DNF somewhere
What's
along the
3
lines.
DNFs between friends? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
It's feeling very reminiscent of last season where his teammate kept crashing him out of the race. That was nice.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Who was...
Because Austria was the race where him and Ocon were fighting the entire time, and then Gasly passed him and said ciao.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. See,
Yes.
so much happens. I can't even
So,
remember.
it's hard to keep track. The last few races have been tremendously exciting.
Yes.
We're in...
This is a fantastic season.
This season is great.
Anybody could come in, 3 races ago and just start watching. I mean, it was exciting before that, but like if you don't have the attention span, kids these days
Yeah.
with their TikTok brain
If
can't watch a video for more than 15 seconds if they don't find it extremely and acutely amusing.
If you had started this season from the start, watching the first 4 races, you would have been like, this season sucks. I hate it. Max wins every race. What's the point in even watching? Well, guess what? You should have kept watching.
And continue to watch
Because there's a lot
with your
to watch.
TikTok brain.
With your TikTok brain. Just put Subway Surfer on in the corner and watch some Subway Surfers gameplay.
Yeah, that's true.
While watching the race.
Ooh, we should actually just come up with an app that TikTokifies everything.
What does that mean? I
Uh,
don't have TikTok.
it'll put no. Like I mean, it'll like it's just an app that exists on your TV where if you're watching something, it'll use an AI and use your phone camera and Wi-Fi to track how intrigued you are by it.
Yeah.
And if your intrigue falls, it'll pop up like Family Guy clips on one corner, and then if it gets really bad, Subway Surfer, and then if it gets really bad, the Minecraft agility.
I want to
things.
see some Temple Run gameplay.
And temper like it would go deeper.
Yeah.
So I think we could patent that and make a lot of money off of it,
I think we could.
much to the detriment of humankind. But that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it would fry some people's brains, but that's okay.
The thing is, this is what I would say. What's an over soft egg versus a scrambled egg.
Right. Yeah, it's the same.
Somebody else cracked it. Somebody else put the butter in the pan.
Yeah.
Unsalted butter, of course. If you're frying eggs, don't use salted butter. Come on.
No?
No.
I hate
It
eggs.
dries out the egg.
I hate eggs so much.
Do I have to make you eggs too?
Please don't.
You hate scrambled eggs?
I hate eggs so much.
Really?
Yeah. I despise them.
Seems like a challenge.
No.
That I can take on. Texture?
Texture is a
Existence?
big part
Attitude.
of this texture.
You don't
And
like chicken's attitude.
Eggs have such a huge ego that I can't stand. They're so smug that I just want to like throw them out a window.
Oh, I'm fragile. Shut up!
I hated Humpty Dumpty, okay?
He deserved it.
He did deserve it.
Why are you climbing on a wall if you're so
Yeah,
fragile?
what are you sitting on
idiot?
a wall for?
What are you,
And
stupid?
Tying up government funds and time, all the king's horses, all the king's men, wasting all
Think
that
about
time trying to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, okay?
Think about it.
Guess what, Humpty Dumpty? It was your fault. Live with the consequences.
Kids these days don't know how to pick their eggshells up by their bootstraps.
Too true.
Back
Too
when I
true.
was 16, my dad got me a job at a factory, and I made $90,000 a year equivalent. Investments were off the charts. If I invested $1,000 when I was 16, it's worth $15,000 today.
It's probably worth way more than that.
In the S&P 500, that's the thing. But anyways, it's the kids these days. We're getting way off. We're getting way off. Verstappen tried passing Hamilton. He outbraked himself and lost the pass, and then he complained a lot about not being able
We're jumping ahead
to.
on the Hamilton or on the Verstappen saga. Then slow down. Verstappen was angry for a few other reasons and came on the radio a number of times throughout the race, which we haven't talked about.
Do tell.
So another time that Verstappen came on the radio, and this was quite fun. There was one other time before that, but I can't quite remember, and he was getting mad at his engineer again for some reason. It was kind of nonstop anger from Verstappen this race. But Verstappen did his final pit stop and came blasting out of the pits and just started zooming as fast as he could. And normally you kind of need a lap to get the tires fired up. You got to like take it easy, or else you're kind of just going to cook your tires and they'll be sort of screwed. Verstappen just like was plowing along, and his engineer came on the radio and he was like, well, that's some way to introduce the new tires. And Verstappen was like, yeah, well, like, F right off. You put me on this effing strategy, and I'm trying to salvage what's left of this. You guys all suck. Like,
He was so mad
he was so mad.
because he got undercut at both.
Yeah, he
at
got
both
undercut.
pit stops.
He was angry at the first pit stop too because he got like they left him out for a very long time. They were trying a different strategy. It kind of worked actually. If Verstappen was a bit cooler headed, he probably would have gotten a podium.
Yeah, not good enough though.
Not good enough.
Not good enough. I actually wasn't jumping ahead because Verstappen lost that pass before his last pit stop. But yeah.
What?
Wait.
No, it was after his last pit stop that he screwed
He
up.
fought Hamilton twice.
Uh,
Anyways, doesn't matter.
Yes, that's true. He did fight Hamilton twice.
One
That's
was
right.
more violent than the other, but we'll get to that.
One was more violent. So
yeah,
yes,
no,
that's true. The
yeah,
first time
he
fighting
was- he
Hamilton,
was-
yes.
Losing it when he went too deep and everything, and I think got like not pushed, but he was never ahead. That was the never ahead incident.
Yes, that's right. That's right. He was fighting Hamilton earlier in the race as well, and Hamilton was doing a really good job
Super
defending.
clean defending.
Lap after lap,
Yep.
Verstappen couldn't quite get past, and it was starting to like back them up into signs as well. Or was it Leclerc? It was
I don't
one
know,
of the
but we can
Ferraris,
talk. We
whatever.
can quit, or we'll finish with Max, then we'll talk about Leclerc. But
Yeah, we'll talk about Leclerc.
Yeah, Max was like, you can look up the radio. Max was furious
He was
the entire race.
anger nonstop.
The car wouldn't rotate, and he was like, he basically said, I have all the settings for it to rotate better, and I still can't turn this thing.
Yeah. They were
furious about strategy, furious
trying-
about the tires and the brakes.
They were trying to tell him different like engine mappings and
Yeah.
stuff to use. He just wasn't having any of it.
No.
Max was extremely angry. They chose to leave him out even after Hamilton did his first pit stop.
Yep.
And they left Verstappen out for a while, quite a while.
Where Verstappen then got undercut by Hamilton.
Yeah, undercut by Hamilton. And Hamilton made up that time pretty quickly too. Like really quickly.
He sure did.
And so
Then on the second one, he got undercut by Leclerc.
yeah. That's right. That's right. So like they were trying a different strategy with Verstappen for some reason. And it didn't really work. But it like the problem with it too though is like so their strategy was to leave Verstappen out for a really long time. Just like really long, let everybody undercut him. That's fine because at the end they'd have tires that are so much newer than everybody else's around that Verstappen could just cut through the field. That was the plan.
And my hypothesis is that the Red Bull is no longer as competitive when it's all fueled up.
I agree. It seems
There's a couple of cars that I've noticed that are nowhere in the early race and then get real fired up near the end. And I think Perez's race proves that as well.
Yeah,
that
I
the
agree.
Red Bull was not good when it was fueled way up.
Yep.
And as the fuel burned off, it got better and better and better. Silverstone was another example.
I was just going to say that Silverstone proved that too.
Max was nowhere until the final quarter of the race, and then he was rocketing.
Yeah. So like the Red Bull seems to do better at the end. So I think they were just trying to save their freshest tires until they could get him on low fuel so that he could just start chopping through the field.
Yep.
And it looked like he was on track to make that work.
Yeah.
Realistically, he caught back up to the back of Hamilton, who was running in third place. They had Verstappen doing good times, despite him being extremely angry at everybody telling him to slow it down a little bit so that he could save the tires a tiny bit more.
Yeah. Or bring them in.
Or,
properly.
get them into a better operating temperature so that they had more grip.
Yeah.
Basically, is what they really wanted. Verstappen did not care. And this culminated in Verstappen again getting stuck behind Hamilton for a little while.
Yeah.
This time it was really only a couple laps that he was really stuck or like right on the back of Hamilton.
Yep.
And coming up to the first corner, Hamilton came up to the corner.
Stayed outside.
Yes, kind of stayed more towards like the outside, started turning in. And Verstappen from unbelievably far away.
Yeah.
Tried to dive bomb Hamilton
On the inside.
on the inside. I don't think Hamilton was expecting it at all from how far. Like, Verstappen coming into that corner was a half a second back. Like, that wasn't even his closest that he had
At
been
the
to the back
braking
of
zone
Hamilton.
was 0.3 of a second, which is absurd.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
That's
far back that
That's
is.
crazy far away
Like
to try to dive
Leclerc
bomb
pulled
somebody.
that off in Vegas.
Yeah.
But, like, he pulled it off
Yeah. And, like,
with no incident or lockup.
clearly Hamilton wasn't expecting it, so he, like, kind of started turning in a bit. But there was still plenty of room, realistically.
There was room for a car on the inside.
Yeah.
And Nico Rosberg made a great point. And Nico Rosberg is usually the first one to point out what Hamilton did wrong. Nico Rosberg said somebody should show Max the video from outside the car so that he can see that there's a corner there. And that Hamilton was turning for the corner.
Yeah,
which I found hilarious and very accurate.
Yeah, because
that's word for word what he said.
Hamilton started turning for the corner. Verstappen just came flying out of nowhere
In the inside.
on the inside, and basically just plowed straight through the corner, locked up the brakes.
All four
wheels locked up, so he was just skidding forward.
He is no longer. So this is one of the point. I don't want to get past this.
Yep.
He comes in on the inside. There is room for a car there.
There is.
Now people were saying Hamilton was moving under braking. I disagree. If he was moving under braking, he was moving to make the corner.
Yeah, he was
moving
allowed towards
to
the
turn
apex.
The corner.
Yeah.
What you're not allowed to do is make a movement in the path of the other driver while braking.
Which he did not do. And also,
you're allowed to turn for the corner, But you have to leave a space for a car.
It looked like Hamilton was just trying to follow a pretty normal racing line.
I think he still left room in the corner.
And I think he did still leave room as well.
But like, yeah, he stayed to the outside. He was coming in. The problem here, and I know the Verstappen fans listening aren't going to like this, but look, Max Verstappen lost control when he locked up all 4 tires. If you locked up 1 tire, you no longer have ideal control of your car.
Nope.
And if anything happens, that is on you.
Yep.
The other driver can count on you having control of your car because that's what you're responsible for. So if you come in on the inside and you lock up, push wide, and the other driver hits you, that is actually on you because you locked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You pushed wide. You couldn't keep grip in your car and make the corner. Max Verstappen was never making that corner, as evidenced by the fact that he locked up. And Verstappen almost never locks up.
But what this is all...
4-wheel skid straight ahead. What was supposed to happen? What did happen, David?
What did happen? This is what this is all coming to, because we haven't actually gotten to that yet.
Yeah.
But what happened is that Verstappen locked up all his wheels. He was skidding forward. Hamilton expected Verstappen to
be
also
able to
be
turn.
turning.
Yeah.
Started to turn in, and Hamilton's front right caught Verstappen's back left tire.
Yeah.
And Verstappen went flying up into the air.
Yeah.
Skidded forward a bit more off the track. Hamilton kept
carried on,
cruising around. He just carried on.
Yeah.
Verstappen lost a position to
Leclerc passed him.
Yeah, to Leclerc.
Yep.
And then rejoined the track
in fifth.
When
he was in 4th and attacking for 3rd.
Yeah. And basically Verstappen...
There were several laps left, too.
There was a number of laps.
There's like
a lot of laps
5
left.
or 6.
And like Verstappen had the faster car. He could have done it. He just was so hot-headed that he made a really crazy move.
Yeah, this is not a trait that is known for Verstappen to have, but he's lacking patience.
He is.
And I would actually expect a bit more out of him with the car advantage that he's had. But I think maybe it does kind of show that winning 2 super dominant championships in a row is not helpful to your racing pedigree.
Well, as well, like Verstappen, I mean, we know he's...
Who did he race hard in 2022? Wheel to wheel.
Yeah.
Kind of little.
A little bit of Leclerc, but...
A little bit, but... It was basically just rock, paper, scissors on whoever's... Or flipping your coin on whoever's car blew up.
Yeah. That's true.
And then Leclerc had... I don't know, an arm tied behind his back because he had a grenade for an engine and an idiot for a team principal.
Yeah, awful strategy. But like, yeah, Verstappen.
I shouldn't say team principal. It was a strategy, but
Mattia's responsible for the team.
It was pretty bad. Yeah.
But like, Verstappen
why could he not have breathed down Hamilton's neck for 3 laps and forced an error or made him use his energy and then passed him handily?
Like, it was such a
it was so rushed.
Desperate move when Verstappen is still driving one of the fastest cars on the grid. He's still in an extremely good position, and he's just making weird errors that seem like they're made out of anger and frustration, and it does look a lot like his rookie years all of a sudden.
Yeah,
it looks a lot like his rookie years.
Is almost, it looks like inexperience, but he should have the experience.
He should. And like the amount of racing that Verstappen does, like he does sim racing constantly.
Yeah.
He's doing all this other stuff.
Should we talk about that?
Sure, yeah.
Max was up till 3 doing sim racing the night before.
Yes.
Some people brought it up that maybe that's why he was a little grouchy.
Yes.
They got in trouble for that.
They brought it up non-stop.
I didn't watch the Sky F1 broadcast.
I didn't watch the Sky F1 either, but I saw a compilation of them bringing it up.
Okay.
And they brought it up every chance they could get. They're like literally every time that Max was shown on like the TV, they were basically like,
he was sim racing.
Well, maybe if you didn't stay up so late. Well,
that's brutal.
Some people decided to sim race, but I don't know, whatever your priorities are.
That's pretty arrogant.
Like, just kept saying stuff like that when, to be fair to Max, He's done this before. He's stayed up till 3 a.m. winning a sim racing
True.
championship and then winning the F1 Grand Prix the next day.
Imola.
So it's just like a really arrogant and crazy thing to say as a broadcaster when like it's not been an issue in the past.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what was going on here is that Verstappen isn't very used to actually racing people like this anymore.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really handle it very well.
Not really.
Simple as
Not
that.
really as evidence. Hopefully he can.
He needs to. Because if he
should,
can't,
if he can't,
going to
then
throw away a championship.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
So yeah, he finished 5th. Hamilton luckily didn't get damaged. There must have been
somehow.
a bit of damage to Verstappen's car that he lost the pace, or he just lost the jump
Oh, well, he like locking up those tires, he would have lost so much grip.
Yeah. And then nothing came out of that because it was a racing incident at best.
Yeah.
And yeah, the decision was they decided not to punish Verstappen.
Yeah.
Like that's how it was released. They decided not to punish Verstappen.
Yes, correct.
For it.
Correct.
So he was furious that they were even looking at punishing him, but it's like you locked up into your competitor. You lost control of your car.
Yeah, and when this happened, Verstappen came on the radio again.
Yeah.
And he was like, he turned into me, he moved under braking, and his engineer came on the radio and he was like, Max, this is getting childish. We've had enough.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it was like, oh my goodness, like they are just done with him today.
Yeah.
Like he was so grouchy and he was just on the radio nonstop the entire race getting mad about stuff.
So angry.
Even to the media afterwards, he was just like, he was saying stuff about like how bad the race was and things.
Yeah.
And it was like,
He
his
was
team.
furious with the stewards.
Furious with the stewards. His team was just like done. His engineer was like, yeah, all right, Max, this is getting childish now.
You know.
Get on with it.
So awkward.
It was.
All the radio was just so awkward. I was just sitting there like, ugh.
Yeah, it was just
Embarrassment through a TV.
Yeah, McLaren, like you had that on McLaren's end, you had the awkwardness on Verstappen's end. Like every bit of radio coming from the drivers was just like, this sucks. Like this is like, it was intriguing and interesting, but also just like you could feel the tension, and it was like uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was wild. Interesting.
I'm just trying to read over my last few notes.
Yeah.
Hamilton kept his 3rd place, so he
Yep.
claimed podium number 200.
Yeah, 200 podiums for Lewis Hamilton.
Holy
Good
smokes.
for him.
Yeah.
Like-
Still got it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the win at Silverstone, that was evidenced by that. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
it's impressive.
No, Hamilton's doing a good job. This is also a track that he's traditionally been very successful at in the
Yeah.
past. This puts him ahead of his teammate in the driver's standings now by a nice chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Also drops Perez another 2 places in the driver's standings, I think. Or at least 1. So Perez is in like 7th now.
Man.
Yeah. When
So
his teammate is, again, still in first by, like, close to 100 points.
Yeah. Yep.
So
yeah, the race results were Piastri, because he finally got past Norris awkwardly.
awkwardly, yes.
2nd was Norris. 3rd was Hamilton. 4th was Leclerc.
Yep.
Pretty good drive from Leclerc and Ferrari with him.
It was a quiet drive from
quiet
Leclerc.
drive, but like
good.
they ran him very long. I
Yep.
did want to talk about Leclerc's race because love him. They ran
Yeah.
him super long, but it worked. He
Yeah.
gained a lot of places, and he didn't really lose any on his pit stops. So the Ferrari was looking good on those tires.
Yeah. So Leclerc did a similar strategy to Verstappen, and it did work.
Yeah.
Verstappen just couldn't keep his cool.
Yeah. And Leclerc passed Sainz. Sainz
Yeah.
started ahead of him
Yeah.
in the same car, and Leclerc's strategy, that one paid off really well for
It
Leclerc.
did. It had the potential to work and be one of the fastest strategies. And Verstappen just, again, couldn't keep his cool.
No. 7th was Perez.
Yep.
Good recovery drive.
Yes.
Anyways.
Sure.
8th was Russell. An actually really good recovery drive.
Yeah, that one was.
18th to 8th.
Yeah.
He might have just kind of tagged on to Perez's coattail, but still, that's a great drive. Didn't
Yeah.
put a foot wrong.
Yeah,
Ninth
good
was
job.
Sonoda.
Also, good job from
That was
Sonoda.
impressive.
Yep.
And then, 10th was Alonso.
Yeah. He was
Stroll.
Stroll.
I read what I wrote.
And
Should have been
Sonoda
Alonso.
was helped a little bit by Aston Martin kind of screwing the pooch.
100%.
But
Both Aston Martins could have pushed him out of the points.
yeah, they could have.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen.
Driver of the day was Piastri, obviously.
I was a bit surprised by that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maiden win? Come on. F1 fans are pretty simple.
I guess. But like,
Half the time, Max Verstappen is in the running for driver of the day, and he'll start first.
Yeah,
he'll be first in practice,
yeah.
first in qualifying, start first, and finish first.
I
and
was
he'll get
surprised
driver
by
of the
the
day.
margin at which Piastri won driver of the day with everything that happened.
Yeah.
Because like that voting was still happening while Norris was still ahead of him, and quite a bit ahead of him. And it felt a little awkward seeing Piastri come up as driver of the
Like
day while that was
higher.
going on.
Yeah.
Because it was at like 30-something% at one
It
point.
was,
And
yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That was so awkward.
It was just all very awkward.
That was our very own Multi 21 from
It was.
what Red Bull had.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as fiery, but still.
I wouldn't have let Piastri pass if I was in Norris's position.
Okay, that was something. What should Norris have done?
I just kept driving.
If it was me, I don't know how I would have let him pass.
Yeah. I
Even
think
David Coulthard, who had to do that to give
Exact same
Mika
thing.
Hakkinen, who was a super good driver and won 2 championships against a prime Michael Schumacher.
Yep.
Mika Hakkinen's amazing.
Yeah.
He was ordered to give Mika Hakkinen his first win. And David Coulthard said, because they asked him, this is the thing I like about F1 TV, they can be quite direct.
Yeah, they can.
Jolyon Palmer said, what would you do today? And like right when it happened early, he was like, no chance I'd let him pass.
Yeah.
I would never do it again.
That's what he said.
Ever. But
And
then,
he changed his
as
tune at
time
the
went
end.
on and it got more and more awkward, and as the engineer said, the team, then he was like, I kind of got that too, and now I get it.
Like you could tell it kind of took him back
It
to
did.
that spot.
He did say, he's like, I don't like this. I
And-
don't like
yeah.
watching this.
And like you could tell he wasn't really impartial at that point anymore.
Yeah.
I think that first opinion he gave where he was like, I wouldn't have let him pass.
And he made good
I think that's
points.
the true one.
He made a great point. He said, because then, now you've done it.
Yeah.
Now you've done that.
You've accepted
You
it.
gave up a win. You accepted that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you
It's a
never
precedent.
did, then they can go, he would never go for that.
Yeah. It sets a bad precedent.
Having only had one, if you put me in that spot where it's like the team messed this up.
Yeah.
There's no chance.
Yeah.
There's no chance
There's
I'm
no
giving
chance.
that up.
That was the team's fault through and through.
And if Piastri came to me, I'd be like, "Hey, brother, go talk to the strategy people, and I'll be right behind you."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'd be wearing the P1 cap and say, "What the heck was that, guys?
Yeah.
What did you do to him?"
Exactly. I would have that hat on. I would be sitting there with
In
the
the
trophy
debrief.
and I'd be like, what on earth was that?
Yeah.
That wasn't my fault. That wasn't Oscar's fault. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Because that's what that conversation should have been.
And then you don't win a championship by yourself.
you know
You just ruined this race by yourself.
you know what that debrief probably looked like afterwards? Norris, what were you doing there, buddy?
Yeah.
Probably
Why did
looked
it
like
take
that
so
now.
long?
Yeah, why? What were you doing? Come on.
And then Piastri's sitting there like, this was all stupid.
Yeah. And that should have been a debrief where the team was at fault,
Oh, yeah.
not the drivers.
Oh, yeah. I would have been furious if I was Norris. I don't know how I could have given that up. You dream of winning races.
Yep.
As a racer in general at all, you dream of winning races. It took a long time for Norris to get his first.
It took
And then
ages.
to say there will be more. I thought it, and David Coulthard said it. He's like, "Oh, it's
You
easy
don't
to
know
say
that.
now, but you don't know that."
Yeah, you don't know that. There might never be more. And
David
like,
Coulthard only has 6 victories.
yeah,
Could have been 7.
Could have been 7. And it's just like, again, this is a guy that might actually be in the fight for the championship now. Piastri's not. Not
Yeah.
really.
No.
Norris is. And
Piastri can get a win later. That's what I would have said.
Piastri has his entire career
There's
ahead
plenty
of him.
there's plenty of time ahead. I would have said, well, there's even more time for him.
Yeah, there's
what,
even
3
more
years
time
more?
for him, and like Norris doesn't have that many wins. He has shown so much loyalty to this team. He has stood by them from the start of his career in F1, despite so many other teams being interested in him. There's reports that Red Bull has tried to recruit him a number of times.
Even in F2, they said.
Yeah.
They tried to recruit Norris in F2, and he said no.
He is stuck by McLaren, and for them to do this in this manner, I think was
I never
so
would have done it.
low.
I was getting a little fired
So
up
low.
thinking about it because I was like, yeah, okay, what should Norris do? It's like, obviously the team wants you to do this thing. But
he
as
should
an
have driven
as,
that to the finish.
yeah, as an F1 driver, it's only so much about the team.
Yep. He should have driven that to the finish.
I bet you he'll regret it, just like David Coulthard did.
I think he will.
Because it was amazing how quick he said, I wish I never did it.
The only way Norris doesn't regret that is if he goes on to win this championship.
Yep.
That's straight up. That's the only
Or
way
the
that
next
he doesn't regret
championship. 2025, if he won that one.
that. Yeah. If they continue to have a winning car and he can win a championship, then we'll see. But if that doesn't happen, he's going to always regret that.
Yep.
And oh my goodness, if this championship is close, which it looks like it might be.
I thought about that
If
too.
Norris loses by a couple points, holy crap, is he going to be angry about
What's the difference
this
between
race?
first and second? 7 points.
Yeah, 7 points. If it is within that margin.
You know, I don't know the number, but an alarming amount of F1 championships have been decided by less than 7 points.
Yep.
I can tell you that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think there's a really good chance Norris walks away from this, and this is one of his biggest regrets.
Yeah.
Is giving that
It's
position
too bad.
up.
It's a really bad look for McLaren. I was extremely disappointed in them
Yeah, it makes me not want to root for them.
because that was just so bad.
Yeah.
You robbed Piastri of a good, clean first win.
Yeah. Like,
He's always going to remember that now.
yeah, it just, like, it sucks.
It's like if Multi 21 was Seb's first win, was Sebastian Vettel's first win.
You mean Mark Webber's first win?
Or wait,
It would have, because
did he win that?
Seb won, because Seb refused to give up the position.
Yes. Oh, well, yes, right. I mean, either way, with either driver.
Because Multi-21, Seb
He didn't
was
give
supposed to give up the
Yes,
position, and they kept coming on the radio, and they're like, Multi-21,
Yeah.
and he just kept on going.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sebastian Vettel never said he regretted that.
And he was a pretty good team player for the most part,
Yeah.
too. But
Yep.
you asked a driver to give up a win. And it's not like he didn't have that championship in the bag either.
No.
Like Verstappen refusing to let Perez by in Brazil.
Oh, that he had already won the championship.
He had already won the championship.
That was just silly.
That was just on principle.
Yeah, that was
That's
silly.
a little different. No consequence.
That's
then
a position where he should have
that's a
given
different
up
precedent.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then if they come at you with a scenario where it has a consequence, you can go, no.
Yeah.
Because this has a consequence.
Yeah, exactly. That's a different precedent, different situation. But like this one is a bad one.
Really bad one. So we'll see what McLaren does with that now. I think they have a lot of smoothing over to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll come out in the next race and be like, everything's peachy.
McLaren.
We've talked about it. We've sorted it all
Yeah,
out.
McLaren, a team that's known for smoothing over team issues.
Oh, yeah. Yep, they're great at that.
Not.
No, so, like, just awkward race, a weird one.
Fun, though. It's entertaining.
It was fun. It was
very entertaining. A lot of emotion.
Just so much tension. So much
Yeah.
tension. All
Yep.
around.
And now we are headed into the summer break, aren't we?
Yeah, and one last point
Yes,
about this
go for
race.
it.
That, like, because of all the tension and how awkward things were with McLaren,
Yep.
it really, for me, took away. Because, like, for most of that race, I was really excited about how well Hamilton was
amped.
driving. And, like,
Hamilton?
all the
yeah.
other stuff going on. Like, Hamilton did such a good job defending. Like, he did a great job to get into that third place position in a car that was not the second fastest
Yeah.
car that race.
Yep.
And, like, it just took away from everything else going on in that race that was
Right.
exciting.
True. Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, none of it mattered. It was just all about McLaren and all about their
Verstappen losing it.
Yeah, and Verstappen losing it. Those two things. And it just like it overshadowed everything else going on. Because at first it was like, oh, Verstappen's catching Hamilton. This is all very exciting. And then it was just like, oh, forget about all of that. McLaren.
Yeah, even kind of like forget his 200th podium.
Yeah, forget his 200th podium. McLaren.
Yeah, McLaren.
And
sorry, my bad. We are not headed into the summer break. We have Spa.
no, Spa this weekend. Yeah.
This weekend.
I love that track.
These double and triple headers are killer, man.
Yeah.
They really are.
They are.
For us as podcast hosts,
It's hard to keep up.
it's hard to keep up. But then it's like,
I only have so much time.
Imagine having to race it.
I know.
I do like, this is. They keep saying, this is our biggest calendar yet. It's like this should not be this big.
To race it though, they just have to show up and race it. We have to show up, watch the race, and then do stuff after the race too. It's much harder for us
because they don't do stuff before or after the race. They just show up.
No, they just show up, race, and go home.
Yeah,
we have to show up, watch them race,
take notes,
watch them qualify,
get together,
take notes. Edit all of it after the fact. Yeah.
It's impossible.
They're just living the easy life.
Why do we do this? Yeah, exactly. We're doing this because it's hard.
Yeah. We wanted a challenge. We didn't just do this for fun because we were like, it's a good excuse to hang out. No. We wanted the challenge.
David Goggins once said, who's going to carry the boats?
I don't know who that is.
And in response to that, I would say, what boats?
True.
This has been The Drain, guys. I'm Noah.
I'm David. And we'll see you
after Spa.
Yeah, whenever we upload the Spa
We'll see you all exfoliated. Because we'll have been to Spa. Exfoliated.
Yeah.
Hot rocks on your spine.
Yes.
All sauna. Right. Cold plunge. David Goggins.
I still don't know who that is. We'll see you later.
Oh, you'll know him.